he's not quite David Montgomery, but he's like almost David Montgomery, where it's just like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's like this guy
Also,
sucks, but also he has a touch floor. So
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I don't know if I waited long enough. It might have not been recording when I started that. I'm going to start it over. Shrek, that was a false start. 5 yards on Walsh. All right.
Accepted.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host tonight. My name is Nick Walsh. I'm happy to be back on the podcast after a brief absence with my good pal Vinny Gonzalez. Vinny, how are you doing?
Great, man. How are you? Haven't seen you in a week.
Yeah, I guess 2 weeks now.
Was it two?
I do. Well, yeah, because you did last week with Shrek. Is that right?
Shrek, and I think we did it before that, right?
Yeah. So I guess it's yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I did for the first time all season. I did like a weekend trip to somewhere else to go visit a friend. I don't know about you. During football season, it's been kind of nice, like not having the social pressure of like going to the bar on like Friday or Saturday, because I have
this is like what we do on Friday now.
Yeah, I have more time to just like do research and like podcast and stuff and like all of that without people being like, hey, like come out to the bar. And I'm like, but I like shouldn't, because I put down like $500 on DraftKings and I don't want to lose it. You know, it's like it's nice to just kind of be like enveloped in football for most of the season. But I did take the full weekend trip, you know, because we weren't just going to the bar. We did like a 5-hour drive and stayed at a buddy's house and played golf, and you know, the kind of weekend where you're not recovered from it until Wednesday, but that's okay. We're fully recovered now. And it made me yearn for football even more. So
it's good to also like decompress from football too. Then you appreciate it even more. I think you picked a pretty good week. It's like halfway through.
Yeah, I got like blown the fuck out in every one of my leagues too, and like I lowered my entries on DraftKings significantly, but because I'm a degenerate, still needed to have a couple ones in there to sweat, and just completely bricked out on all of those. So it was just kind of like it was like the lost football week for me, and now we're back and we're ready to keep going. But yeah, man, it should be a fun one. We've got the Week 9 preview. You know, how was Week 8 for you? Was it as bad as it was for me?
Yeah, I got fucked in every league as well. I think maybe in Don's dad's league I won, actually. But yeah, the rest I got fucked in one, and then I got screwed over on the differential was, or the difference maker play was the not overturned defensive touchdown for Philly.
Oh.
It was in the Brick League with Matt.
Yeah. He told me he won on that one, and I was like, that's insane.
Actually, it might have even been worse. It might have been the dumbass McCarthy taking a safety for no reason. It might have been by 2. So fuck that even more.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I did not watch that game. I was in the car, and I saw like some of the highlight plays afterwards, and was like, holy fuck, what the hell happened in this game? So yeah, great stuff when you throw the NFC East in night games. You know, you gotta love it. But after an unfortunate Week 8 for both of us, we are on to Week 9, and I'm off to a good start. You're off to not as great of a start with the hasty situation, and me getting extremely lucky with McKinnon getting a touchdown with 4 seconds left. I felt scuzzy after that, but
I wanted that feeling though. I wanted to feel that scuzz. Like having like the 2-pointer from Hasty was just like, I deserve it, and it's my fault. Like, fuck Shanahan forever. And
he's turning into a real dick with running backs.
He is a huge dick. And like, I should have known better. He's fucked me several times. The Alfred Morris thing, the other times as well. I can't remember. Fuck him. Like McKinnon was supposed to be like used less. And I was like, sweet, it's kind of a blowout. Hasty's going to get all the garbage. And they're just like, let's use everybody. It's like,
He went from 2 weeks ago. It was like McKinnon can't be used because he has dead legs after getting too many carries the past 2 weeks, and now he's just in there down 30 with 4 seconds left on the goal line.
They called a timeout to do that. And I hit the over on my bet, but I was just like, man, fuck you. Stop wasting everybody's time and trying to kill your running back.
Yeah, very, very bizarre situation. But hey, the Packers looked great. The Niners are very hurt. And we're going to get into the rest of these games. So let's jump on into them, I guess, after we go through the bye week. So on the bye this week, we have the Bengals, the Browns, the Eagles, and the Rams. All pretty fantasy relevant teams, though. The Browns, have some injuries. The Eagles, I'm interested to see how they come back healthy after the bye week with like Goddard and Rager and those types of guys coming back. But
actually, like all these teams have guys like Chubb should be back, Mixon should be back, Sanders should be back. So like a lot of the running backs that missed should be full on after their bye. So again, like you said, it will be cool to see them at full strength. Yeah,
definitely. So hopefully that works out. And jumping right into the games, let's jump into the highest over-under, what I assume will be the highest stacked game on DraftKings, as the Seahawks games normally are. But we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Buffalo Bills. I guess we'll start on the Seattle side of the ball, where it's just the dream situation. Their defense fucking is terrible against the pass. They're giving up like record numbers to wide receivers, and their offense is incredible. So you've got Russ just slinging it all over the field. You've got the defense giving up points, which makes Russ sling it more. And it's just a recipe for fantasy greatness every week. Obviously, Russ is a guy that you're playing. So let's go to the wide receivers. I wrote this in, and it's funny. I wrote this as like my first thought here. And it was, is there concern about Tyler Lockett? And then I looked at like the total stats on the season, and he's literally the number one PPR wide receiver. Yeah, but so the reason that I wrote that in was because over the past 4 weeks, he had 20 targets in one game and then only 14 in the other 3. So I feel like he's a bit of a boom bust situation. Not that you would ever sit him, but like, if you're a Tyler Lockett owner, are you like at all?
No, I mean, like maybe down the stretch a little concerned just because he'll disappear. But like Metcalf also disappears when they're doing like their Tyler Lockett games. So it's really just like, I think you're lucky to have either of them. Obviously more so Metcalf just because he's more inclined to be steady. But the Lockett blowups are there. The 10 target games for Lockett aren't going anywhere either. So I wouldn't be really too concerned about most of that. Just be happy you have a piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Metcalf, who has just been absolutely incredible this year. I did not see a practice report from today, but on Thursday, Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, and David Moore all missed practice.
They're out. So Carson's out, Hyde is out. It's going to be DJ Dallas again.
DJ Dallas again. Okay. So that's interesting because this is theoretically a very good matchup against the Bills, who have really hemorrhaged points to the running back. And DJ Dallas put up a good fantasy week this past week.
In a tougher matchup,
but he was really inefficient. He kind of lucked out that he got in the end zone twice. 18 carries, 41 yards and a touchdown, and then 5 targets, 5 catches, 17 yards and a touchdown. So for 23 touches, like 58 total yards is not fucking good. But again, it was a tougher matchup. One of my concerns here too, and tell me if this is valid at all. So Travis Homer was originally announced as inactive last week by Jay Glazer, and then he was active when it came to game time. He barely played. He played less than he normally does when Chris Carson is in the game, which Homer has like quietly been taking around 40% of the snaps, even though he doesn't really get the workload. This week, like DJ Dallas was just in on like 80% of the snaps. With another week for Homer to be healthy, my thought is that perhaps
more of a split.
Or at least more of Homer getting the snaps where they're not going to involve the running back, because that's kind of what he does on a normal basis. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me it seemed like he was active last week in case of emergency. Like if DJ Dallas gets hurt, then you throw in Travis Homer or whatever. Mm-hmm. But whereas this week, like maybe on another week, and again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, But
no, I think it's because I didn't even consider that. I was just like, all right, DJ Dallas did it last week. He could do it again in a better matchup. But you're bringing up an incredibly valid point that
I mean, Homer was getting snaps with Carson like regularly, and he was only getting maybe 6 touches a game. But like 40%.
Pete Carroll does weird shit. Yeah,
right. Pete Carroll's a fucking weirdo. So I think my point is I don't know if DJ Dallas is as much of a slam dunk as he appears to be, but I also definitely think he's a guy who should be started.
Yeah, I'm thinking at least, he's like you could see it even with like splitting with Travis Homer somewhere between like 13 and 15 touches this game, and it's a good matchup. So I think he warrants flex consideration. Maybe not as much as like a running back 2 or low 1 as you would hope, but yeah, I think flex is probably more on the money now that you're bringing that viewpoint. I totally overlooked, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Cool. Well, I don't know. Running back's hard. Running back's really hard.
Fucking tell me about it.
Yeah. At the tight end position, the snap shares are in this order: Disley, Olsen, and Hollister. But Olsen is really the guy who's been getting the targets out of those 3. Do you trust any of them in this good matchup?
No, not at all.
Okay. I think I'm being forced to play Greg Olsen in one league this week, and I'm kind of just hoping for a touchdown. So, I mean,
that's the tight end game, but yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Greg Olsen's just like, that's like submitting. Like you can't find a better play.
Not really. No,
never mind. Sorry.
It's not spectacular. This is also, I think like this is the brick league, and like Deemer has like 3 tight ends on it. I don't know. It's like, he was trying to trade me Hunter Henry all week, but anyway, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Tough times. All right. Buffalo side of the ball. Josh Allen started off this season, the first 3 games, fucking spectacular, and has honestly been pretty bad since then. And he's been pretty bad in some tough matchups, but then it was like they played the Jets, and it's like, yeah, you didn't do it against the Jets. So to me, this is like the make or break week of like, is Josh Allen a starter the rest of the season? We find out this week.
That's a nice Dragon Ball Z preview for a man's career. Find out.
Send him your power.
And he probably will hopefully drop a spirit bomb on this fucking defense. They are getting Adams back, so I guess a little concern there because they were pretty – like their defense was much better with Adams on the field, obviously. But this is going to be a shootout, hopefully. Like you said, it's just like the recipe. So, yeah, this is ride or die week, I guess. And then after this, if he doesn't do well, I think you can start, looking at streams or – I don't know, just pretend like rest of season schedules, like see if you can find better matchups for like lower tier quarterbacks that could just be more matchup played.
Yeah, very much agreed there. So I mean, obviously in this matchup, Steph Diggs is a must play. He's been great all year, very high target share, all the good stuff that we like. I think the questions come in the next 2 guys in John Brown and Cole Beasley. John Brown hasn't really been fully healthy for a lot of the season, and he hasn't really produced because of it. But this is like the nut matchup for wide receivers, and particularly for outside wide receivers. Like, it doesn't get much better than this. So theoretically, John Brown should just have a great game. I think one of these 2 guys has a great game, and I'm going to wait and see kind of where the ownership is projected to go on DraftKings and play whichever guy is going to have less of it, I think.
That works for that, but
yeah,
season long, I would be scared to play John Brown. It's weird that my confidence level is way higher with Cole Beasley.
No, I mean, it makes sense. John Brown,
he hasn't done anything,
Yeah, I mean, over the last 3 games that he's played, only a 15% target share and a 17% air yard share. And like his average depth of target has only been 10 yards. He hasn't even like really been used down the field like you would expect John Brown to. So it makes it difficult to really trust him, with the injury issues that he's had. Beasley has been the more reliable guy this season, and that's just kind of the matter of it. So definitely get it. I think it's hard to use Brown. I think I would use Beasley. It's tough because sitting a guy like John Brown in this matchup that is theoretically so good for him, it's like it goes against everything that I
if us last year heard us talking this shit about John Brown right now, it's just like sacrilegious. Like we wouldn't even dream of sitting John Brown right now, but it's just the current state of affairs, I think, for him. Yeah,
and it's just the not knowing his injury situation is like what does it really for me. I don't know how healthy he is, and that pisses me off. And
he also got correct me if I'm wrong, I think he got a 0-point game when he tried to push it, and it was just like, I'm active, and then you play him, and it's like, fuck, he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we can get some clearer news closer to the actual game, and you can figure it out from there. So the other people we need to talk about are the running backs. Both of them looked pretty good this past week. It's basically a split snap situation between Moss and Singletary. The difference is that Moss is the goal line guy. To me, Moss is clearly the guy who should be played ahead of Singletary at this point in fantasy. This is a kind of a tough matchup, though, because the Seahawks haven't been as giving to running backs as they have been to wide receivers. So where do you lie on this one?
I think Moss, like you said, has the higher upside. You're not comfortable playing Singletary, so I think it's probably Moss for me, but I get if people are forced to a Singletary play. I don't know if anyone's ever figured that out since draft time, to not play him because he hasn't really been producing at all. But in a shootout, they could both see, some sort of goal line work. But yeah, I guess that's where Moss comes in as the higher projected guy for me.
Yeah, pretty agreed with that. Who you got in this one?
I am taking the Seahawks.
All right, I'm going to take the Bills to make it interesting.
Okay.
Let's move to Denver at Atlanta. Atlanta is a 4-point favorite with an over-under of 50. Oh, all of these lines I got last night, Thursday night. So hopefully they're still accurate. I think for the most part they're close, if not there. But Atlanta is a 4-point favorite with an over-under of 50. So another game that we expect to be pretty high scoring here. The Broncos played semi-decent this past week. I mean, Phillip Lindsay broke a big run. Drew Lock was trying to chuck the ball downfield.
They played shit until the third and fourth quarter, and they kind of got lucky, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on the Broncos this week.
You could definitely be in this week. I think they got lucky last week, but yeah, they should just the matchup is too fucking sexy.
Yeah, and Atlanta is officially going to be without both Dante Fowler and Tack McKinley, who are their two best pass rushers off the edge. And Drew Lock, I did a little bit of research on this. Do you want to know what Drew Lock's yards per attempts are when PFF deems him not under pressure?
Sure, tell me. I don't have a guess.
8.2 yards per attempt, which is really good. That's pretty solid. When he is under pressure, his yards per attempt this season fall to 2.8. So Drew Lock can't handle fucking pressure. And
we don't think he's very good, right?
No, I don't think he's very good, but I think when he's not under pressure, he can be a passable quarterback. Atlanta's secondary is garbage, and they're down their two best pass rushers on the edge. So Drew Lock might be a fucking thing this week, man.
All right, yeah. I was on Judy this game, and if Tim Patrick goes, probably him too, just because, again, the matchup against the Falcons always. So, yeah, it's one of those things by default, you probably just transitive property have to like Drew Lock.
Yeah, no, I'm on both of them, definitely. Tim Patrick, I believe, is expected to play, so their outlook should be Patrick and Judy on the outside, and then KJ Hamler in the slot. This past week, with Hamler back healthy, he moved into the slot, and they moved Judy outside. And Judy was actually used as the deep threat this past week, which he hasn't been this season up to that. So interesting stuff. I'm going to need to decide which one of those I'm going to get on as a tournament flyer in DFS. But yeah, I like Judy and Patrick, I think, as guys you can kind of just start in season long this week.
Yeah, much more Judy than Patrick's the wide receiver 3 spot play. And then Judy, I think, bump him up to wide receiver 2. And I think that's it.
What do you think about Noah Fant?
Oh, yeah, every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth noting that Albert O, who people were on, he went back down to 25% snaps and just one target. If you played him this past week, it worked out because he turned that one target into a touchdown. But do not try and rely on that every week. So then the other players that we need to talk about are Gordon and Lindsey. With Gordon looks like shit, but he's getting the passing down work. And Lindsey looks good, but he's not. So where do you think that goes?
I think they're upset that they brought Melvin Gordon in and just can't play Philip Lindsay. But as far as playing them goes, I have way more confidence in Philip Lindsay to produce, but Melvin Gordon's getting so much usage that, I don't know, I feel like they're just both, you throw them out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I think Gordon, just because of his usage, is the better play. But it's tough. Like it's tough to bench Philip Lindsay when you see him breaking like these 60-yard runs and shit, you know?
He just looks better, dude. He looks, and I feel like that's going to be the case for most of his career. Just kind of like almost like a fucking walk-on, basically. And
just undervalued, man.
Undervalued, performing, and just they bring in Melvin Gordon for seemingly like no reason, and it's just they're locked in this double-headed thing where Lindsey's capable. It's just like he's also not healthy too, so I don't know. It's this whole fucking mishmash, but they're both good plays this week. Season long, probably much more frustrating weeks to come for these two.
Yeah, I would say so. It is frustrating to own Lindsey as someone who traded for him because it never feels like a comfortable start, but then like sometimes he does it and sometimes he doesn't. So I don't know. For Atlanta, the big news on the offense is that Calvin Ridley seems to be truly questionable with this midfoot injury, which sucks ass because I am very invested in Calvin Ridley.
I was going to say, I thought it was more encouraging that they even have it questionable after seeing like how bad it was on Thursday. It's like, oh, that looked like season ending, and now they're considering him able to play almost. So, I
mean, long term, yes, but for this week, it does not seem spectacular. Or, well, I don't know. I'm concerned because there was, what was it? Maybe it was week 3 or something like that, where he went into the game hurt and was clearly just like a decoy as well. He had like 3 targets and 0 catches, like that kind of thing. So I'm scared of that as well.
Is that the Packers game?
I don't remember.
He didn't have any catches?
It was on national TV, I'm pretty sure.
I think that was the Packer game then.
Yeah, that would make sense. Anyway, that was also without Julio, so it was like he was drawing all the coverage and that kind of stuff too. So it's slightly different situation, but definitely concerning. If Ridley is out, not that you really want to do anything with his backup, but his backup does appear to be Christian Blake. The Falcons appear to have different, similar to the Chiefs, where like they have different direct backups for their different receivers. So when Julio went down, Olamide Zaccheaus was the guy that we were like, he's the guy. When Ridley went down last week, it was Christian Blake, who was apparently the guy. So I don't know, not really worth the play in my eyes, but I guess good to know.
Yes, very valuable information that we will not use.
So whether or not Ridley goes, do you agree that it's Julio and it's Hayden Hurst in this past game, and that's about it?
Yes, yeah. It's actually been kind of more encouraging for Hayden Hurst too. I mean, you got your tight end, you're playing him, and he's kind of just working his way into the every week, like Noah Fant almost, because he runs just so many routes. He's
been quietly good. I was looking it up before. He actually, on the season, he has more PPR fantasy points than Mark Andrews does. So he's good.
That's actually surprising because Mark Andrews kind of dipped off, but I didn't think it was that bad.
I think Andrews is like tight end 7 and Hurst is tight end 6 in total PPR points this year.
Still didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I bet you if you ask, most people, they would say Andrews has more fantasy points this year, and it's not the case. So Hurst is a guy who you're playing every week. Julio, obviously, you don't sit. Are you playing Matt Ryan in this matchup? The Broncos are not like a good defense, but not a bad defense either.
I think I'm in. I would be more comfortable playing Matt Ryan than Drew Lock.
I think I'm the opposite, but I am also like maybe
I would be
maybe
so
comfortable
upset.
isn't like the right word, but like
Yeah,
my fucking DGAF sensors are like going nuts on Drew Lock this week for some reason. I don't know. I'm considering him in tournament stacks, and like in my brain, I'm considering a lot.
That's definitely the way to go. Like, why the fuck not shoot for the fucking moon? But like, if I'm looking to feel comfortable and I get a high floor and the high ceiling potential from Matt Ryan in a good matchup, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that's definitely the correct take.
If you're in a 12-team league and you're fucking pinched for a quarterback, Drew Lock, sure. But I think Matt Ryan.
I am starting Drew Lock in one 12-team league.
Is it Brick?
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
I picked up Nick Mullins to be my streamer this week, and then his entire wide receiver core got COVID or went on the COVID list. And I was like, okay, we're done with this one.
Oops. All right, then that's fine.
Yeah. All right. The only other guy we really need to talk about, I think, is Gurley, who is basically a lock for 16 to 20 touches, it seems like this year. And I know Brian Hill got a lot of work in that Thursday night game, and
Dude, it was the Gurley mystery. Why is he on the sideline game? It happens at least 3 times a year, and it just happened to be last Thursday. So there's only 2 more left.
I don't know if there's only 2 more left. Yeah, I don't know if I'm like retrofitting a narrative to that, but like the fact that it was a short week, like, do you think that had something to play into it? Where it's just like, the coaching staff was like, it's Thursday, like we can't give Todd like the normal snaps on Thursday or something. Like, I don't know.
He's on the secret pitch count. I quit my Todd Gurley monitoring his health after last year's fucking wafu with me, so I'm done with Todd Gurley, but he should be fine. And yeah, he garners like a lot of touchdown upside equity, whatever, and has been for the most part very consistent. I think you roll him out with confidence.
Yeah, I mean, 16 to 20 touches on a team that has an implied point total of 27. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a quick break. Shrek, you're going to have to pause this here.
Oh, just pause.
All right, Vinny, and we need to pick this game. Who you got in the Broncos and the Falcons?
Give me Atlanta. I will not bet on them, but I will pick them here.
I'm going to take the Broncos because, again, I'm stupid.
I think you have to after the planting the flag on Drew Lock.
Yeah. I'm wondering, this whole week, when I realized that Dante Fowler and Tack McKinley were going to be out, I was like, is this too like 2018 Walsh of a move to just stack Drew Lock, or is that like good? Or should I just figure out which of Judy or Patrick I want to use? But anyway, we'll figure it out. Let's move to Chicago at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 6.5 point favorite with a 46.5 point over under. So not a ton of scoring really expected in this one, particularly on Chicago's side. For Chicago, it's theoretically a great matchup. Like, do you trust Foles at all as a streamer?
Absolutely. I'd rather play Drew Lock. Fuck that.
I made that decision.
Good. He's too low volume. He's so unexciting. All he has is like Allen Robinson. That's all they have. Like they just are a shit football team. I don't like watching them. I don't like investing in them with money or time. It's just like I hate the Bears. I don't like watching this shit.
That Bears Saints game that was like in overtime as the last game of the late window. It was just like this, like no one. I mean, like I was watching it with 2 people who were like the most hungover people in the world. So like, but we were all just like, this fucking sucks. Like this is not fun.
Dude, if you're watching it like hungover too, like I just wanted Red Zone to end. I'm just like, there's nothing else anymore. I think I lost that week. I'm just like, dude, put me out of my fucking misery.
Yeah. Red Zone ending also meant I had to start a 5-hour drive. So I was like, maybe I don't want Red Zone to end, but also this, like, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place on that one. But anyway, Yeah, the Bears aren't fun to watch. Allen Robinson is an every week start. David Montgomery is reluctantly a guy that you don't sit unless you have very good running backs. He just has no ceiling whatsoever.
And he could in this game, potentially.
No, you can't.
No?
No. I know the defense sucks. He's not.
Yeah, it's his best matchup in a while, but yeah, again, I think he might cap him. He might leave the game if he crosses 15.
Darnell Mooney is mildly interesting to me. He's a deep threat who Nick Foles rarely actually connects with, but he had a good week this past week. It's a bad defense. I think he could do worse when it comes to like desperation wide receiver plays.
I would do anything to not do that. And I'll go through the podcast just picking people I would play over him.
Okay, that's fair.
I'd probably rather play Russell Gage, who I don't even think we touched on, than Darnell Mooney.
I would much rather play Darnell Mooney than Russell Gage. I don't think Russell Gage has any sort of floor or ceiling, whereas Darnell Mooney, I think, at least has a ceiling. So I would much rather be playing Darnell Mooney. We should touch on Anthony Miller because he saw season highs in snap share and targets in week 8 against the Saints. It was 11 targets. But
he also played an extra quarter.
Yeah, extra quarter. And I think it may have been a game-specific situation because the Saints aren't good against the slot. The Titans also just traded for Desmond King, who is a nickel cornerback who is good. And he is a guy who I believe the trade happened early enough where he can play in this game with the COVID restrictions. So
I believe so, yeah.
Anthony Miller, mentioning him just because you may have seen 11 targets and a touchdown this past week, I wouldn't buy it.
Hell no.
For this week. Let's talk about the Titans. How many yards for Derrick Henry this week? 200, 300?
I'll go 250. I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay, so that sounds about right. But I mean, dude, he's gonna eat. I think in this game. I know the Bears are a good defense, but Derrick Henry is about to put his dick in the Bears.
Yeah, and they were spelling him during the Bengals game, which was a surprise upset. So they're ready to unleash their monster, and it's gonna fucking explode all over the Bears.
Yeah, and with that being said, how much do we trust the passing game pieces? Because since Corey Davis came back 2 games ago, he has 19 targets and 41% of the air yards compared to 15 targets and 24% of the air yards for A.J. Brown over that time. No one else on the team has more than 10% of the targets. Jonnu has exactly 10% over those 2 games. Small sample size, but is it possible that Corey Davis is the dude, or is that we're just not buying that?
Yeah, Corey Davis is on the Devontae Parker comeback tour. It's just when we book him for dead, he's just I am very much alive. So I don't really know what to make. I mean, I think they're both theoretically bad plays just because it's going to be low volume. It's a low scoring game. Bears have a tough defense against the pass. I would be comfortable sitting Corey Davis. I think A.J. Brown, with the talent, you still have to roll him out despite not being targeted as much or, part of the game plan lately. But I think A.J. Brown is someone that's in your lineup, and Corey Davis is someone you want to find another piece for.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good way of looking at it. The Bears have been a little bit vulnerable to the slot, and Adam Humphries is in concussion protocol. So I did some research on who this past week, after Adam Humphries got knocked out, who led the Titans in slot snap percentage. And you know who it was?
Was it Nick Westbrook?
It was the Ferk Daddy. I am calling this as a sneaky Anthony Ferkser week.
Why would they? That is very frisky. Wow, go Titans.
That's one of those ones. I'm gonna take a DraftKings lineup where I literally play all the chalk except for Anthony Ferkser. That's hope the chalk.
That's
hits
great too because it doesn't burn a wide receiver spot. That's just a dumb tight end spot. I love it.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be 2,800 on DraftKings or some bullshit like that. So,
a 0.0 Walsh own percentage that's it.
Exactly. We're gonna play the Seahawks Bills game stack with the chalk running backs and Anthony Ferkser. That's what we're gonna do.
I hope that works. And then all that will make just like people that are losing to you just be like, are you fucking kidding?
Be like, look at the slot snap percentages, bitch. Like, no,
Wow.
but
So either 0 or 20 for Fursker.
yeah, that's the move. If you want to be extremely stupid like myself, play the Furk Daddy. I mentioned Jonnu. I mean, tight end's
done,
like,
right?
tight end's gross, but he hasn't been a guy who's been playable for a couple of weeks, I feel like.
Yeah. Let me see. If Ingram's around, if Ebron's around, I don't know if I'm fucking with Gesicki anymore either.
Yeah, he's kind of fallen off. I mean,
He's on the same page, right? It's
Hawk
like
Daddy is a definite.
he's got to be owned though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Not Jimmy Graham. Fuck that.
No, maybe. I mean, we'll talk about it in the next game. Irv Smith Jr. I think might be a better play than Jonnu.
Yeah. You could roll him, I guess, if like it's really, really bad or just equally as rough, I guess. I don't know. Go down with the ship.
Yeah, there really isn't much out there, honestly. So, yeah, maybe it's worth it. It's not the best matchup. Like we said, the Bears play slow, ugly games. So it's not great. But the Titans' offense is good, and there's a chance at a touchdown. So Olsen or Jonnu?
Oh no! What have you done? I guess Olsen. Oh no, that's bad. No, you know what? No, Jonnu. Yeah, no, I can't do that.
I think I would play Olsen, but it's close.
No, I can't. No way. I can't.
All right, you taking the Titans in this one?
I am. Fuck the Bears.
I am also taking the Titans. My Bears over under bet of 8. She still has life, dude. It didn't look good there for a while, but
yeah, the rest of the schedule could go just defeated. So let's hope that hits.
All right, Detroit at Minnesota. Minnesota is a 4-point favorite with an over under of 52.5. On the Detroit side, Matt Stafford is on the COVID list, but he will play if he continues to test negative. The betting line is not moved, even though he is on the COVID list. So that I would think means that Vegas thinks he's going to play. Because I think if Chase Daniel or David Blau was going to play, the line would have definitely moved. So I am confident in Stafford starting in this game. I am not confident in starting Stafford in this game, though. What do you think about that?
I wish I could be. It's just hasn't practiced all week. Obviously was sick with COVID. Like that's got to have some sort of drain on you. And,
I think he was around someone. I don't think he was actually sick.
Oh, so they just put him like precautionary?
Yeah, he's on like the precautionary list where he had just had to quarantine for 5 days and test negative the whole time.
Ah, okay. I don't trust the NFL, so I think he had it, and I think he's on like the quarterback COVID list. Like I swear to God, I think that's the thing they have. Just like high profile guy, pretty big matchup. Fuck that. Hang out for 5 days. We'll see how you do. But that's not here nor there, Walsh. I don't know.
You keep QBing on, if you will.
The dark figures that move in the night run the NFL. I don't know. I'm not liking. I don't want to say this, but like maybe Drew Lock over Stafford.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah. Just because it's about the same matchup, and like no Kenny Golladay really like takes the cap off this offense. We've seen it. Like it should be a good game for Marvin Jones. If anyone's listening to hear us say that, like yeah, sure. But this offense is totally different without Kenny Golladay. And
yeah, I don't ever want to play Stafford without Kenny Golladay. Like
right, like he just
like until further notice.
He's missing that bomb piece of the offense. So there's really like I think like Hawkinson could have a 2-touchdown game, but that's just good for Hawkinson, not necessarily Stafford, who's going to be playing catch up probably in a weirdly paced up and down game. Because I'm sure the Vikings just are like, all right, Dalvin Cook time again because he's going to fuck them up.
That's what they're going to try to do for sure.
Yeah, so that's going to eat game clock. It's just this offense is so less talented without Galladay that it kind of takes the enticement of, or the enticing factor of starting Stafford. So this was supposed to be like an awesome week for both those dudes, and it's just kind of tanked.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Marvin Jones. He was not like a guy worth starting when Galladay was out earlier in the year, but Jones has gotten more involved in the offense over the past couple of weeks. 18
and this
targets.
Matchup is way better than any of the other two.
Very much agreed. 18 targets over the past 3 games for Marvin Jones, and that's with Galladay in the lineup for a lot of that. So, like that, you mentioned the Hawk Daddy. Love the Hawk Daddy this week. 22 targets over those past 3 games that I mentioned. Jones had 18. We know he's a red zone target as well. And then you would expect some sort of combo of Marvin Hall and Quintez Cephas to play in Galladay's spot. I don't really give a shit which one it is. It doesn't matter for fantasy purposes. The other guy we need to talk about is DeAndre Swift. He was very bad against the Colts, which was a bad matchup, but 62% of the snaps, only 20% for Adrian Peterson in that game. Is it time to start rolling out DeAndre Swift? Because if you're going to tell me a running back and a talented running back who we like, who is not game script dependent, is going to get 15 touches against the Vikings, I say we want to be starting that running back.
I mean, theoretically, he should have had a game last week. Like they were down. He should have caught a bunch of passes, seen a lot of work, and it's just like kind of didn't happen.
But it was the Colts.
I do agree that it's a tougher matchup against the Colts, and it's a better matchup against the Vikings, obviously. So I don't know. I just feel like this guy's going to burn a lot of people very often. And it's going to be tough to plug him in, but this is probably a week where you're more comfortable. It's just I fucking hate Matt Patricia, and I just hope he sticks to his guns. Like, what if he doesn't get 68% of the snaps this week?
Yeah, Adrian Peterson is back to 40% for some because Matt Patricia is an asshole. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, good point. I mean,
confidence level is 0. I think per usual playing a Lions running back, but matchup wise, opportunity wise, I'm probably at like 40%. So sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine play, and running back is gross. So if you need to do it, do it. We didn't mention Amendola, but I'm just not at all in on Amendola.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Vikings side, I think this is like fucking easy as shit this week, right? Cousins, Cook, Thielen, Jefferson. I'm even fine with Irv Smith.
I'll let the Irv Smith slide because I'm feeling good on this Friday, Walsh.
Dude,
and we just talked about Johnny Smith. So
before this past week, when the Vikings threw the ball only 14 times, Irv Smith had 5 targets each in the 2 games before that. He's had 79% of the snaps each of the past 2 games.
No, stop this shit! Don't fucking victory lap me right now. Get out of here, dude. He's fine.
He's gonna be okay.
Stop doing this.
He's a decent start.
Okay.
It was very funny this past week, like. How like strutting, dick swinging do you think Mike Zimmer was walking out of that stadium? In my head, it's like the
I threw the ball 14 times.
Yeah,
baby.
and they just had like this great game. Like I'm picturing him like walking out to like Staying Alive, like coming out of the stadium.
I was picturing like the like up and down Mickey Mouse like walk, like whistling and like just like swinging his dick.
Yeah, just helicoptering it around. Yeah, no, he absolutely look. He might be able to do it again in this game.
Honestly, yeah. I think that's very much in the cards. So
I wouldn't entirely bet on 14 pass attempts, but with the target share and the air yard share that Thielen and Jefferson get, I think it's fine either way. But yeah, this to me looks like a Vikings win, so I will be taking the Vikings.
Yes, sir. I am also in on that.
Baltimore at Indianapolis, 2 of the best defenses in the league here. Baltimore is a 1.5 favorite with an over-under of 40. Interestingly enough, this over-under opened, I believe, 2 points lower, and Baltimore was a full point more of a favorite at the start. So I don't really know what's caused that line movement because there's a
couple injuries. So it's like, well, Stanley's been gone, which is huge to the line. We saw that. But Humphreys is going to be out COVID.
Oh, that might actually have a significant thing to do with it.
And Mark Ingram as well. That's probably less.
Yeah,
because I think they're better without him so far. But
yeah, I mean, Dobbins and Edwards looked pretty fucking good against Pittsburgh's defense.
So
it's
almost like it's like an identical matchup too on paper. Like they're versing another tough one, and they're just going to split and probably be pretty good again. Like that's just their MO. That's what they want to do is run the ball.
So this is another discussion that I wanted to have on this podcast. Who would you play over Lamar? And I had a couple guys in mind for this, and I think let's just one, Roethlisberger or Lamar. Roethlisberger against Dallas.
Fuck. So that's one of those tricky ones where it's a really good matchup, but Roethlisberger could theoretically just be a handoff machine.
Right.
Fuck me. I think I would go Ben there just because he's got to do it at least for a half.
I think I agree.
That's close, though. It's very close.
Justin Herbert or Lamar?
Chargers have
Raiders.
Chargers. I mean, I hate seeing the Los Angeles thing. I'll go Lamar there.
I think I would be playing Justin Herbert there. But the fact that we're having that discussion kind of illustrates the point that I was trying to make, which is that Lamar Jackson, not quite the Lamar Jackson of yesteryear this year.
Correct.
This is not a good matchup for him either. We just mentioned the Colts defense, how good they are. So in terms of Baltimore plays in the passing game, the peripheral stats for Hollywood have been there in terms of target share and air yard share and that kind of thing. But Hollywood this year is PPR wide receiver 42, directly in between Mecole Hardman and Christian Kirk. There's no way you start that guy against the Colts, right?
No, you can't. I know he's bitching about his targets, but like, what exactly are Hollywood Brown targets? They're going to try and go deep. You can't go deep on the Colts. They play zone defense. They're going to be sitting back. They're not going to let that happen. So there's no upside. There's really no floor. No, you can't play him. Yeah.
I mean, literally the only thing that I think could point you to playing Hollywood this week would be, as you said, the squeaky wheel narrative. But like, I'm not playing a guy just on squeaky wheel narrative. Like that's not.
If it was squeaky wheel and they were playing like the Vikings, like Buck, yes. But, no, not against Indy, man. Their defense is very, very good.
The other passing game option is obviously Mark Andrews, who I mentioned before is, not having the best year, but I think he is absolutely a guy that needs to be started still.
Yes. The Colts haven't given up a touchdown to the tight end, which is Mark Andrews' bag. So I want to see what breaks here.
That is his bag. Oh, no, baby. That's not my bag. Touchdowns aren't my bag.
I'm more than just that.
We'll see how it goes, but Andrew's definitely a guy you're not sitting. And then we mentioned the running backs, how Mark Ingram is still not practicing. So we're looking at another split between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They pretty much split carries this past week, even though Dobbins got about twice the snaps. And theoretically, Dobbins is the pass game back, but he only got 2 targets compared to Edwards 1 this past week. I think I would be starting Dobbins over Edwards, but I don't think they're particularly far apart.
I was going to say they're very close together. I think you nailed it. Like they're both low 2s just because of the workload, tough matchup. But yeah, I think I agree. They're very much on the same point where they can like both have the same floor, same ceiling.
All right. Let's move to the Colts, where I don't want to play anyone on the Colts. And I think they're going to put up points.
I just don't know how.
3-man running back rotation. Jordan Wilkins got about twice the snaps of Jonathan Taylor this past week. Naheem Hines had 2 touchdowns and did 2 twisting backflips.
Those are fucking awesome.
Yeah, I believe if you in wrestling, if you do that and land like stomach first on your opponent, it's called a Cancun tornado, I believe is the name of that move. So I'm going to start calling his touchdown celebration a Cancun tornado.
Or that could just be his nickname.
The Cancun tornado. That's a great nickname. But yeah, you can't play any of the running backs, I don't think, in this matchup with all three of them expected to factor in. You have three tight ends getting snaps. I know Mo Alley Cox did not practice, might not play. If he doesn't play, I would say you can maybe roll Trey Burton out there.
No, you don't want to do that, though. Trey Burton or Jonnu?
Jonnu, probably.
Yeah. We've talked about this. So like every time we talk about the Colts, it's just been like this amoeba thing, just like spreading out. Like they just specifically use a ton of people at the same position and just it's spread.
Yeah. And I mean, T.Y. Hilton, Marcus Johnson, and Ashton Doolin all did not practice today at wide receiver. So we may be looking at Zach Pascal, Doris Fountain, and Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman would be back in that. But yeah, like we're not looking at a situation that's good at all for any wide receivers. There's just literally no one. Like it seems weird because they're a team that's going to put up points, but just like you don't want to play a single person.
Yeah, I think I'm fully out. I don't know. I would not. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of Jonathan Taylor people may be stuck, but please find something else.
Yeah, that being said, I'm going to take the Colts to win this game.
I am not. definitely going to go with the Ravens here.
All right, let's move to Carolina at Kansas City, where Kansas City is a 10.5-point favorite with an over-under of 52.5. Christian McCaffrey expected back in what should be a great matchup for him. I haven't taken stock of the ownership, but I think I'm going to smash McCaffrey on DraftKings this week in a game where we expect them to be playing from behind. Kansas City is great defending wide receivers and vulnerable defending running backs in the pass game. Christian McCaffrey, I think, has a chance at double-digit catches in his first game back.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm pretty sure he's very hungry and will, in fact, eat and solve that problem. Done.
I mentioned how Kansas City's good against wide receivers. I feel like you still need to start Robbie and DJ, right? They're just kind of every week starters at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you didn't, it hasn't been great going against like Kansas City, but they've played shit teams or just kind of, submitted mediocre to decent games to wide receivers. So I think you're okay with the volume and how much Teddy peppers those two.
Curtis Samuel, 21% target share over the past two games. Do you buy him as a play this game?
I don't, especially with McCaffrey coming back. I think that ship has sort of sailed and it was like a fun gadget thing. And I think they got that out of their system. So I think they're going to go back to what they want to do.
Yeah. I mean, the past 2 weeks, he's had like straight up running back touchdowns out of like the eye from like the 5-yard line. So
yes,
don't expect that to continue this game. Very much agree with you. McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, those are your plays on the Panthers side of the ball. For Kansas City, this is a bizarre team too. So let's start with the running backs because we've got CEH, we've got Le'Veon Bell. You would think that by this point we would have figured them out a little bit, but 2 weeks ago we had the game where they had 3 special team / defensive touchdowns. So like everything was fucking out of whack. This past week they just threw all over the Jets. Everything was fucking out of whack. We literally have like outside of CEH has gotten like 50% of the snaps and Bell gets like 25 to 33% over the past 2 weeks. We don't know shit about what they're trying to do with this backfield.
No. And like it's dawned on me that perhaps this turns into a weird the Chiefs do what they want. Like they remember when they played the Bills and CEH had his best game.
Yeah.
And he ran like almost 30 times. They can do like that's what's scary about the Chiefs. They can do that at any moment, but I don't know. Like the Panthers are very bad against the run. Is Andy Reid just game planning like, we're gonna fuck him up with CEH and like surprise spells with Bell? and run it and just get the fuck out of there? Or are they just going to treat them like shit like they did to the Jets and throw an embarrassing amount of times over them? Like, I truly don't know, and I truly don't think it matters. And I think you're just stuck playing your Chiefs pieces as you normally would. And thinking about it is only stressful to your health.
That's true. Don't think about things. It's terrible.
That's right.
CEH. So my take is that CEH is a start. Bell is not a start. And like, that's kind of all I've got from there, just because I'm not in the game of starting running backs that have gotten like 30% of the snaps for the past 2 weeks. But
yeah, like running back wise, obviously.
I'm not confident in that at all, though.
Confident to sit Bell or just like your take?
Any of it. I'm not confident in any of it.
I would say you're confident sitting Bell. I don't think there's going to be – actually, I don't even know if there's going to be a confidence level with him like for the rest of the year. Like there probably won't.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think – I don't know. Like CEH could have a good game. That's just it's a good matchup, and who the fuck knows.
All right, so pass game, obviously Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey you are playing because that's what you do. We've got Sammy Watkins questionable. He might come back this week. We're not really sure yet. Mecole Hardman saw a season high in targets with 9 this past week and almost a season high in snaps at 68%, which was more than both Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson. So the question is, one, if Sammy Watkins does not play, is Mecole Hardman a play? And then 2, if Sammy Watkins does play, is anyone else a play?
I'm going to stay away from all of that. I don't like playing Hardman as it is, and playing someone that's been so prone to injuries like Sammy Watkins, like off, like sitting on the bench for a while. I'm just going to stay away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the prudent move there. I'm going to take Kansas City.
Yes, me too.
All right, last game before we take a quick break. Houston at Jacksonville. Houston is a 7-point favorite with an over-under of 50.5. The Texans, I feel like, are pretty easy to figure out in this one. David Johnson kind of sucks, but he's guaranteed 15 touches on a team with a 28.75 implied point total. So, like, play the motherfucker, right?
Yeah, and if he's going to do something awesome, like it's going to be against the Jaguars. Like, come on. And
yeah,
they're not even playing Minshew. Like, you should be able to. I'm expecting a 20-point David Johnson week.
Okay.
I don't know if it happens. I hope it does, because I just feel like this is his opportunity to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this feels like it's the opportunity where it could happen. So
is this like a make or break thing, like the Josh Allen thing for him?
No, because David Johnson gets enough work week to week where he's almost, he's not quite David Montgomery, but he's like almost David Montgomery, where it's just like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's like this guy
also
sucks, but also he has a touch floor. So
I like how I said that, like as if you had a better running back option than him. Just like, yeah. I'm going to play Jordan Howard over you next week, dude. It's like, shut the fuck up. I am so dumb.
We didn't mention Watson, but obviously he is a start. And then wide receivers in this order: Fuller, Cooks, Cobb. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, kill it.
And for what it's worth, Cobb, I think, is a worthwhile wide receiver this week. I think he is a startable wide receiver.
Trying to think of like a comparable.
I would rather start Randall Cobb than a single Cowboys wide receiver.
I get that. Yeah, that's probably a good threshold.
All right.
Sure.
Approved. Let's move to the Jags, where we have the debut of Jake Luton, who is a 6th-round pick. He is 6'6". That's 3 6s. That's the number of the beast, in case you were counting. Let's go Iron Maiden. Let's go Satan. The book on Luton is that he is a big pocket passer. He is immobile. He struggles under pressure. He's kind of viewed as like a development guy.
Thank God they're playing the Texans.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, if they were playing at like a semi-decent pass rush, I would say he's fucked. But the Texans pass rush just sucks. even though the Jags line sucks, like he might be able to hang back there and throw it a little bit. But the thing with like young quarterbacks when they come in and when they're good is generally when they can do stuff off script a little bit. Like, for example, Minshew. Luton or Luton, I don't know. I'm going to keep saying Luton because it sounds dumb.
I like Luton.
He cannot do that, like from everything that I've read. Like, he's not going to make plays off script. Like, if he can drop back and like chuck it to DJ Shark, then sure. But like, I do not expect much at all from this offense today.
This dude sounds like Foles in this offense, which he was for like a couple quarters.
My first thought when I read the description of him was like, oh, this is Brock Osweiler.
I mean, sure. Let's just talk like tall dudes that semi-sling and get huge contracts for no reason. John Elway is going to throw Drew Lock to the fucking Wolves and just draft this guy if he has a decent game this week.
Yeah, seriously. No, yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, if I was going to rank the Jags pass catchers, it would be Shark, and then I think like Chenault and Cole would be in a tie for me in terms of who I would want to play. I don't want to play any of them, though. I think the only guy that you're really looking to play on the Jags is James Robinson. And even then, slightly downgrade him from a couple weeks ago because Chris Thompson is back off the COVID list. Not that changes his workload too much, but it's like a 15-touch floor instead of an 18-touch floor.
Yeah, well said. I think you completely nailed that.
I'm going to take the Texans.
Me too. All
right. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more Let's Talk Fantasy Football.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, home of the brutally honest fantasy advice you've always needed.
All right, guys, welcome back. We have 6 more games to go, but first, winning season has returned at MyBookie, and winning season means doubling your first deposit. It means insane props, epic bonuses, and the craziest cross-sport wagers. We got Masters Week coming up next week, Finn. So cross-sport wagers, you want to bet on some football and some golf? You're fucking right, I do. Are we allowed to curse in the middle of ad reads? I'm not sure. I think we probably are.
Yeah, we're
Anyway, at MyBookie, winning season means watching live sports and betting live sports all season long. So rejoice. The NFL's back. That means action-packed Sundays, huge cash prizes, and you can get in on the action by using promo code Let's Talk to double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. So bet with the best this NFL season for your chance to win big. Use that promo code Let's Talk and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today, only at MyBookie. I did mention Masters Week is next week. That's going to be an insane week because I was playing a ton of daily fantasy golf over the summer. So I have a bunch of like free tickets for the Masters that I got from that stuff. And I now need to do a bunch of like golf research on the same week as a football research week. And it's going to be a heavy one. I don't think I'm going to be getting too much work done, but that's all right.
Yeah, we're winning a lot of bets. That's just spreading out a lot of fucking misinformation or information and just, I don't know. That's really hard to take in.
Yeah, betting on golf is fun. I like it a lot. You do not win often, but when you do, you win pretty big. So,
yeah, I learned that from quarantine betting on NASCAR. I was like, wow, why am I even thinking I have an opinion that's even remotely correct? And yeah, still just like fully confident like this guy.
NASCAR, I've never like bet outright. I've done a couple daily fantasy NASCAR contests and tried to like look up basic strategy for it and just been like not even close to the fucking cash line, like just absolutely terrible. So
the saddest one I won, which is hilarious, was just like, will the car number be odd or even?
That's the kind of bet I can get down with for NASCAR.
Even money, baby. Even money.
Yeah. Well, no, what is it? 43 cars. So I guess you would technically one side would have a slightly better chance than the other.
I didn't realize. I think it was minus 115. So I mean, it's as close as even money as you can get to.
Yeah. Well, now that we're done talking about our dumb gambling, I still remember you walking in the casino for our one fantasy draft, walking in the casino in Atlantic City, finding a $500 voucher in your pocket and immediately putting it all on black and just having $1,000 for the weekend. Me being like, what the fuck just happened?
I actually had that from a previous venture to Atlantic City where I woke up on the car ride back and was like, shit, I didn't cash this. And I was like, when I go back for our draft, I'm going to just put this on black. And lo and behold, probably the best gambling weekend of my life. That was definitely it. I peaked there. Everything else is just me catching up desperately.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I slept about 1 hour on that whole weekend, and then we got a flat tire on the way back. But anyway, on the Parkway, a flat tire on the fucking Parkway. Anyway, let's get back into the games. We're going to start with the New York Giants. Speaking of the Parkway, the New York Giants at the Washington football team. Washington is a 2.5-point favorite with an over-under of 43. Daniel Jones should in no way, shape, or form be considered for any sort of fantasy lineup this week. Washington has a very, very good defense. With Devontae Freeman out again, do you want to fuck around with Wayne Gallman or what?
No, dude. They did the weird, Alfred Morris started getting carries. I didn't even know he was on that team or practice squad. Yeah, he was in there. And Wayne Gallman didn't do shit except for kind of fumble into an end zone. And then Deion Lewis had an insane catch on 2 targets. I'm sick of this fucking team too. They're worse than the Bears. I don't like. They're the Bears if they threw it every down. I hate them.
Yeah, they're a terrible team to watch. I remain convinced that Jason Garrett has stunted the growth of Daniel Jones and has made Evan Ingram suck. That being said, since Sterling Shepard came back 2 weeks ago, Ingram has led the team in target share at 27.5%. He's had about 26% of the air yards. The last time they played Washington was 32nd in DVOA against the tight end. I played Ingram. It didn't work. They're still 32nd in DVOA against the tight end. I'm tempted to play Ingram again. Is it going to work this time?
I did the same thing, and I've dropped and picked up Ingram and played him several times. I just don't know. The target volume is awesome, and it's just this team sucks. They suck, and it's I don't know. I don't know if this hits. He didn't even pass 30 yards last time he played Washington. So I truly do not know with Ingram, but I do know he will get a sufficient amount of targets, so that could save you.
Yeah, and I mean, Shepard is right there in terms of the target share as well. He had 26% and 29% of the air yards in those 2 games.
Dude, he's quietly overtaking Slayton.
Yeah, well, he's doing it on short yardage shit. He has an 8-yard ADOT, and that was going to be my next point, was that in that same time frame, Slayton has 18% of the targets, but 34% of the air yards. So Slayton's now just being used as a deep threat, which it's not ideal to be Daniel Jones' deep threat.
Right. And especially he's actually I remember there was a stat that they said on Sunday night, he's very good at deep balls. And just when they were playing the Buccaneers, which they could have won that game, which was insane. He missed 3 touchdowns to Slayton, Sterling, and I think Slayton again. So
you would think at some point those are going to hit.
Right, exactly. So it could hit against Washington just because, I guess Daniel Jones wants to sling it there, but
I'm not betting on this week because
no, exactly.
Because Washington's defense is like I said, they're quietly good, and Kendall Fuller is quietly allowing the lowest passer rating of any cornerback in the NFL on balls thrown at him, and he's the guy who's likely to be on Slayton the most. So I'm not doing it this week, but at some point this year, I am going to get on Slayton again and just hope that's the week that they connect.
Yeah. I mean, all these guys, the Evan Ingram thing too. It's just you want to be on Ingram the week that he's going to blow up. It hasn't happened yet. The Slayton thing's probably the new thing since Shepard came back. So I get where you're coming from. It's just this is probably not the matchup.
Yeah,
for really either of these guys. Honestly, I guess
the
Shepard,
Washington defense
sneaky.
is the play
Yeah.
in this game. Like, if anything, Shepard, I would rather play certainly than
Yeah.
Slayton in this matchup. Just more consistent targets. And
Ingram,
Shepard,
I guess, equally off volume because I guess that's really all they have.
yeah. It's worth noting that Golden Tate is basically a part-time player at this point and should not be considered for fantasy.
I did see he could be benched. That doesn't really mean much, but that is just
he's been in on like 50% of the snaps this year anyway. It's not like he's like
hit a sick touch. That touchdown was very cool, but that's whatever. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. On the Washington side of the ball, the guys we need to talk about are one, Antonio Gibson. I think the fantasy community in general, we were talking about sending your energy or sending their energy towards Antonio Gibson having a larger role post-bye and maybe getting some more of that passing down work, because that was his actual strength in college. It is very bizarre to me that they've made him like an early down banger type guy, because it's like Antonio Gibson was like a hybrid wide receiver, running back, kick returner in college. And now you're like, nope, JD McKissick, that's our guy for that. Antonio Gibson, first down, second down, goal line work. It's like, wait, what? But
he's literally the fusion of Peyton Barber and JD McKissick.
Yeah.
Let's get this going, Ron. Let's just set him up. Like, we're waiting for that flip to switch. Hopefully it's post-bye, and, honestly, he's been pretty decent the last couple of weeks, very playable, and kind of has been all year. But again, the Washington football team just doesn't have a high over-under, so it's tough to play really anyone on this team besides Terry. So it's been a rough go, but like once that flip switches, hopefully it's full on, and he's been doing well anyway with a high floor. So let's get that ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a playable guy, I think, for a couple of weeks at this point, but I really just want to see that next step taken. We'll see if it gets taken. If not, he's still a very playable guy, and I think in this matchup, he's a guy you should be playing. You mentioned Terry. He
gets Bradbury, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, Terry moves around enough in this offense. He moves into the slot. Bradbury doesn't go into the slot. Not worried about that at all. I also think Logan Thomas is worthy of discussion and above the Jonnu line.
I agree. Yeah, no argument.
I am taking Washington.
Me too.
Let's move to the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. This game is a pick'em at 51.5. For the Raiders, Josh Jacobs is questionable, but I believe he should play. He's just kind of dealing with his Josh Jacobs always injured type shit. Guy got 31 carries this past week. Let him miss practice a couple
Give
of
him a rest, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Chargers are one of those matchups where I'm not afraid of them, but I'm also not really targeting them. So I think you kind of just keep everyone where they would normally be projected, which means Jacobs is a good play. Waller is a high floor, low ceiling play who would need a lot of targets going his way in order to make that happen, that ceiling happen. And that's kind of it for the Raiders, I think.
I'm with you. Yeah, really just Jacobs and Waller. No interest in the Ruggs? Probably not.
So the thing that's kind of fucking me up there is Bryan Edwards was cleared to return, so I don't know what their wide receiver rotation is going to look like. I mean, he was starting early in this year. Aguilar has played well and appeared to have taken that over. Ruggs is like as boom bust as you could possibly get at this point. He has, I think, like an 11% target share since his return from injury, but also like a 29% air yard share. So I think his ADOT's like 19 yards or some bullshit like that. Like he's like if you want 3 to 5 targets and the chance of a 60-yard touchdown, by all means start Henry Ruggs. Generally, I don't want that.
Yeah, probably not.
All right. Moving to the Los Angeles side of the ball, we mentioned Justin Herbert. I think he's a legitimate starting quarterback in fantasy now.
So where were you on like the Lock Herbert thing? I forget.
Herbert would be ahead of Lock for me.
Okay. I don't know if we made that distinction earlier.
I don't think we did, but I mean, dude, Herbert has like 4 straight top 10 games in fantasy. Like
he has been slinging particularly well.
He kind of just slings pig around. That's kind of the thing that he does.
Doesn't give a fuck. Sure, yeah. I mean, he really has shown the ceiling like several times, and against the Raiders, it's not like the scariest, but it's not. Again, it's like playing the Chargers. Like it's a very even matchup. Like it's middle of the road for both teams. So I don't hate it. I don't love it. If you want to roll him, sure.
Fair enough. With his pass catchers, Keenan Allen has a 31% target share and a 30% air yard share since Herbert took over in week 2. Keenan is a top 5 wide receiver every single week until further notice.
What more do you want?
I don't know. The other wide receivers are Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton. Mike Williams is a boomer bust deep threat with an average depth of target of 17.3 yards. Jalen Guyton is a boomer or buster deep threat with an average depth of target of 23.4 yards. So again, what kind of risk tolerance you trying to take on here, homeboy? But I don't recommend either guy.
Yeah, probably not. It's cool to have them in the box, like your back pocket on your bench in like supreme desperation injury. Like I got to throw this guy out.
I prefer them in my Bach packet, but
my Bach package. But yeah, no.
Hunter Henry, what do you think about him?
If you're in the business of trading for a tight end, I think he is money. Like, I think I would do it before this week. I think he's had a lot of red zone targets. I think he's had like a lot of targets, period, from Herbert, and it just kind of hasn't hit. So I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop, and I think it should for the rest of the season. So I'm very intrigued to see how it plays out. But I'm also like wanting a ticket to it too. Like I own none, and I'm very interested to like own a piece of that. I know you just like traded for him too. I think you're very much in the money on that.
See, I'm a little like out on it. He just
really?
Like his target share just I don't know about that. Though I was thinking Hunter Henry and Hawk Daddy could Frankenstein a tight end, and I think I just might be all in on Hawk Daddy. But I'm also playing Hunter Henry in my flex because my team sucks. But
I was about to say, yeah, you're all in because you have to be.
Like his target share just, I mean, I guess I don't know.
Dude, for tight end, there is no like target share. You get 4 targets, you're in.
Yeah, it's between 4 and 8 every game. He only has 1 touchdown on the year. I mean, I know you're
talking about every tight end ever.
Yeah.
He's good, dude. And the red zone targets, they are going to hit soon.
Yeah, I think
touchdown regression. That's what you do, Walsh. You do that.
That is true. What do I want to look at his end zone targets now. Can you like bullshit about something while I look at his end zone targets?
I get bullshit about his end zone targets that I've been talking about for like 10 minutes. Right. I believe he has 8 or 10 red zone targets, and I think he has 1 touchdown.
Oh God!
Since Herbert took over, so I believe.
So I should have traded Deemer for him this week.
I mean, you traded for him in our league, so
yeah. No, I did. All right.
Did you find
them? No, I stopped looking because you gave me shit about it, but it doesn't matter.
No. I didn't mean it like that. I meant I was bullshitting them, but I think that they are what I said, so that's factual now.
I'm going to. All right, I'm going to pull it up real quick. Hunter Henry. Yeah, he has 5 red zone targets. No, he has 4 red zone targets.
Wait, since Herbert took over, though, or
this is on the season, but he has 2 targets.
Terrible. Where did I see that?
So
I guess I made that all up.
Yeah, see, those red zone targets are upsetting me now. But
Jesus Christ! Thanks for like vetting that. I'm a dumbass.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not a guy that you're sitting at any point. He's very unexciting to me right now. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about him. If I'm going to drink like 7 more beers and pick up Jalen Guyton and start him with his 23.4 average depth of target or whatever. But Anyway, who do you want in this game?
Raiders, dude. They're being very disrespectful to the Raiders. I hopped on them as underdogs, and I was very happy that the wind came out to play against the Browns. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm going to bet the Raiders, or I'm going to pick the Raiders as well. I have the Raiders are a team where I have no idea if they're good or bad right now. It is like,
dude, there are so many teams like that like don't feel bad, Walsh. Don't feel bad, because
I feel like them more than anyone else in the league. And like, this is as someone who follows their every move, like knows their team inside out. I have zero idea if they are good or bad at this point.
Yeah, you've kind of been in the vein of like they're terrible for a while, so it's hard when. Well, no, you've had like a little bit of good, and then yeah, I guess you're in that leeway spot now. But
they beat the Saints, they beat the Chiefs, like they just beat the Browns in a weird game, but then like they lost to the Bucks and they lost like real bad in that game. Like they like
Bucks are good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the Raiders are good, man, and I think literally what. Like bad teams that are good teams that are showing that they could be good teams. Like I think that we're going to talk about those two next in the fucking Arizona and Miami.
That'll be one game after, but yes.
Oh fuck! What's next?
This shitty game that
I skipped this mentally. I skipped it mentally. That's all right.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We'll talk about it now. Pittsburgh at Dallas. Pittsburgh are a 14-point favorite with an over-under of 42. I don't know if you realize what that means for implied point totals, but it means we expect Pittsburgh to score 28 points and Dallas to score 14. I can't remember the last time I saw an implied point total that low, 14 points.
I believe it was the Jets versus the Chiefs last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, well, fuck me then. Anyway.
I also said that Hunter Henry had 8 red zone targets.
Yeah, no, we'll both go fuck ourselves. It's cool.
Yeah.
So for Pittsburgh in this game, Ben and James Conner, I think, are both clearly very good plays. I think the questions go beyond that. And we'll start with Ebron. Is he like in the must start range for you now, or is he still like streamer tight end for you?
I think he's very akin to the Hayden Hurst ascension. Like you're playing him off the waiver. Like he's not a slam play, nor is any other tight end besides like Travis Kelce. So it doesn't fucking matter anymore. So I think he's really just up to that role. Seeing anywhere from 4 to 6 targets a week, going over 40 yards a game, always has touchdown upside. I'm in.
Yeah, completely. And then I think with their wide receivers, the conclusion that I've come to is that James Washington is a non-factor. In terms of Juju, Claypool, and Deontay Johnson, 2 of them are going to hit it each week. Good luck figuring out which 2, because I do not know. Yeah,
I don't think they know. So good on them. And if you're going to play anybody, like Juju's locked in for you. Deontay and Chase Claypool, you can avoid. Like that's a team management thing for you. So that's going to be up to you on matchup. Does the matchup matter? I don't think so. I think this is just a big headache if you own either of those guys. So do what you will, but their upsides are massive. And in this game, I think their ceiling is a little capped because I think they will run the ball after they get up, but getting up could involve either of them doing stuff. So it's again, one of those shitty calls.
Yeah. And I kind of skimmed over James Conner. James Conner, I think this like
could be running back 1.
He's been a floor week guy for the entire season. Yeah. Like this might be James Conner's ceiling week.
3 touchdowns could easily happen.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all. Again, implied point total is 28, so.
Yeah, no big deal here.
Against the fucking Cowboys. So, for the Cowboys, we have Ben DiNucci.
No, we don't.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they're benching him for either Garrett Gilbert or we might see some Cooper Rush shit.
I was so ready to make
DiNucci jokes.
My Ben DiNucci. You make it a pasta. You throw the intercepzione. No, Cooper Rush, and Garrett Gilbert. I don't think it matters who's in here. The offensive line is bullshit. The Steelers pass rush is the best in the league. Whoever it is just they're literally being like served up on a silver platter for fucking
TJ Watt is gonna kill whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah, TJ Watt and Bud Dupree are going to eat someone for lunch this week, and it doesn't matter who's in there. Do you want to play any of these pass catchers?
I'm forced to, but no, I don't want to.
Which one are you forced to?
I'm forced to play Cooper in our league, actually. So
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, got Tyler Boyd on the bye. It's not good. Definitely not good, but you're banking on nothing. There's nothing to bank on. Fuck me. They're terrible plays.
So interestingly enough, this past week with DiNucci, Michael Gallup was the most targeted receiver, and he actually had the lowest ADOT of all the wide receivers on the Cowboys, which is a bizarre.
It was a pathetically schemed game by Mike McCarthy. It was actually like the saddest thing I've ever. Like they really schemed fucking a big Gallup game, and it was just like so sad.
Yeah, and I mean, CeeDee Lamb had his lowest snap share of the season. It was below 50%. They played a ton of 2 tight end, I would assume, to try and get more pass protection because this offensive line sucks. The only person on this team that you want to be playing is Zeke, and that's purely a usage play because, like, 16 touches is the floor there.
And Zeke might not even play with his hamstring.
Is that really a thing that might happen?
It's hard to see Zeke sitting because I feel like he's never really done it in our lifetime since he's been playing, but it would appear that that's sort of a possible thing that could happen.
All right, well, that sucks. Hopefully it does not. If it does, I think Tony Pollard becomes a startable guy, again, based on usage. But
yeah, probably. It just sucks a lot.
So we're both taking the Cowboys?
Yes, sir. Sweep it.
All right, sweet. Miami at Arizona. Arizona is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 48.5. For the Miami team, this is Tua's second start. He won his first start, but it was really no thanks to him. The defense had this crazy-ass game. The defense is pretty good, honestly.
We talked about this in the offseason. That was actually probably one of our most fun and accurate podcasts. We're like, do we love their defense? And now it's true.
Yeah. So with the offense, we've got Miles the Fridge Gaskin is out.
Sucks.
Matt Breida is also out. So
sucks.
We're looking at Jordan Howard
sucks.
And our Laird and Savior Patrick Laird. And then I this is again like stupid sneaky brain me wants Lynn Bowden or like Malcolm Perry to get involved, like the 2 rookie college quarterbacks who could be interesting gadget players, but that's probably not going to happen. There is no one in this backfield that you should want to play with Arizona as a favorite in this game.
Yeah, probably not. Gaskin has just exceeded all expectations. Been playing very well, and you just can't really. Like Howard's been a healthy scratch for how long, and they're just going to be like,
you're not going to replicate what Gaskin has been doing by any means.
Imagine them going up to Howard, just like, "Hey, buddy, you want to be our starter again?"
He's like,
remember when we brought you in? Like, if I was Howard, dude, I would run into the back of the offensive line, just lay down every play, like he's done for most of his career.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like exactly what he's going to do, but you know. Similar to the running backs, I think it's really hard to trust any of their wide receivers or tight ends. If I was going to, it would be Devontae Parker. But Devontae Parker also oscillates between like 12 target games and 2 target games pretty regularly this year. So it's hard to really label him as consistent. They just traded away Isaiah Ford to the Patriots. That might open up more work for like a Jakeem Grant, I guess.
No, nothing. That does nothing, dude. That does nothing. Relax.
Yeah, I'm not saying for fantasy. Like it's just like I don't know, like a fun fact or something.
No, there's no fun. There's no fun here.
It's a good point. There really isn't any fun in this. And then at the tight end position, we've got fucking
dead.
Adam Shaheen and Durham Smythe fucking getting involved. It's like, God damn it, dude. What are we supposed to do there?
Yeah, that was the last game I played Mike Gesicki. Everyone else did good things, and then I don't know. Like Gesicki's really good. Like when you watch him, it's like, wow, that's a fucking tight end, and just no, it's not working here.
So are we no Dolphins? Maybe Parker, no Dolphins?
Yeah, maybe Parker, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I think you're right. No Dolphins here.
All right. For Arizona, Kyler, duh. DeAndre Hopkins, duh. Chase Edmonds, RB1 this week.
You could have just said duh. That would have been great.
Dude. Chase Edmonds.
All right. This is the, like, you play this game, you smash, you have to. Like, you have to Chase Edmonds. You must.
Dude, the thing with Miami's defense, too, is, like, their secondary is sick. Their pass rush is pretty good.
You got to run on them.
They're garbage against the running back, and they're also garbage against the running back in the pass game. And, like, Chase Edmonds coming in and getting, like, the full-time role that we expect, like, isn't just anyone else doing it. Chase Edmonds is good. Like, this is a guy who's better than Kenyon Drake, the starter. Like, he is going to fucking fuck shit up this week. And if you are not on him, then, like, I'm sorry. Or if you're playing against
Get on him.
Yeah, if you're playing against him, like, you're fucked. Because Chase Edmonds is going to score a 30-point week this week.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty sweet. Because all we've seen is Arizona doing the, like, play action kind of read thing. I think Edmonds is going to rip that apart this week. I think it's going to be great. Kenyon Drake really has not got that going, and shame he got hurt, but, like, fuck, this is basically what every Edmonds owner has been waiting for.
Yeah, and I am one of those who has been holding him and stashing him and being like, when is he going to play over Kenyon Drake? And here we go, man. This is the week. This is it. It cannot be a better matchup for it. I am very excited. They're a 4.5-point favorite. Chase Edmonds belongs in every DFS lineup that you make this week. I don't even know what his price is. I don't care. Yeah, I'm taking Arizona.
I am too, but I am scared of their defense.
All right, Sunday Night Football. Interesting football game, more for real-life football than fantasy football, I think. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Rematch of Drew Brees, Tom Brady from week 1. Tampa Bay is a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. For New Orleans, the big deal is that Michael Thomas should be back. Manny Sanders should also be back. I still kind of think that Kamara is just like the guy that you play. And, like, obviously if you have Michael Thomas, you're not sitting him. But, like, I'm not playing Manny Sanders. I'm not playing anyone else on the Saints offense. It's pretty much just Kamara with the utmost confidence. And Michael Thomas is just like, please deliver on the draft capital, you know?
Dude, I mean, even from the Michael Thomas standpoint, coming back from the injury, the only game he played this year was against the Buccaneers week 1. He sucked. He did dick. And, like, you forget that he had, like, what, 2 catches? Maybe one.
Yeah, Carlton Davis shut his ass down.
Yeah, and then literally got rolled up on, and that's why he's missed most of this year. So a little concerning on that front. I'm very worried about the Michael Thomas spot play, which that's what it is, because we don't even really fully know if he's a go. I think I could roll Jared Cook. I think he's kind of the Jonnu. I think he's a little edge above him.
Okay.
Just because he's been so good. He's either had a touchdown or, you know, over that threshold of 40 yards the last couple of games. So
above the Jonnu line.
Which is great. I think we should just do that. That's the tight end line, John.
Yeah.
Kamara's the smash. Love it. And the rest, I think you nailed it.
So for Tampa Bay, this is a very weird situation too. And before we get into these one, I like Tom Brady here. I think Tom Brady is a worthwhile fantasy
start. I think he's just QB1 throughout. Like, dude, you can't not play this guy with Godwin active, Evans, Brown, Gronkowski. Like, fuck Gronkowski. Jesus. you literally can't. Like, he is just a fucking dude, we could run this offense potentially.
Yeah.
But, you know, with Tom Brady, it's kind of too insane. The ceiling is too insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's talk about those running backs. Fournette, compared to Ronald Jones this past week, and I know Jones lost a fumble, and that's why he kind of like fell out of favor, but he literally does that like every other week. So I'm not counting that as like a weird occurrence or whatever. Fournette had 15 carries to Ronald Jones, 7 carries, 6 targets to Rojo's 4 targets, and 73% of the snaps to 24% of the snaps for Ronald Jones. Fournette's the back to own here.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy you want to be playing. I don't think you can be confidently playing Rojo at this point in the season. This is always a take that is subject to change based on whatever Bruce Arians and Tom Brady see fit. So keep that in mind. But right now, Fournette's clearly the guy to own. Now to these pass catchers, Gronk way above the Johnny line, averaging 6.5 targets per game over the last 4 games. These wide receivers, because Godwin's expected to be back. Evans has sucked when Godwin has played. Antonio Brown, I mean, like, they're going to force feed him targets, right? Like,
probably.
That's the point of doing that.
At worst, like, dude, we've seen what happened, like, when he even stepped in when he was at the brief moment when he was on Patriot. Like, dude.
He played 17 snaps and got 6 targets and a touchdown.
Right. Like, that's a playable game. So I think, again, we've said this multiple times, like, to Josh Gordon owners, to people that have picked up on Antonio Brown, if you are the asshole in the league that picks these people up, you better fucking play them when they're active. Because if you don't, you're the biggest piece of shit in the world. So you have no choice. And I think, like, you're just forced in that play. And I don't think it's a bad play, honestly. So
I don't think it's a good play either, though.
It's not, but, like, go fuck yourself. Like,
the wide receiver play in this game is Godwin.
I don't even think so. I think it's Brown, which is disgusting because I think he's going to get fed.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks a lot.
Yeah, like, your confidence in Godwin is warranted, but, like, obviously the Evans stock is tanked.
I hate Brady for how much that he is, like, coddling Antonio Brown. He's living in his house. Like,
yes, he did. Dude, he did to Josh Gordon too. He stayed at his house.
He's willing to just be like, yeah, I know you're a piece of shit person, but if you help me win a ring, it's with
so with Antonio Brown than Josh Gordon. That was a nice thing to do for Josh Gordon. This is just like a
for Josh Gordon.
I need to win a ring right now.
Yeah, for Josh Gordon, that's like, oh, like, I might help you, like, come out of, like, the throes of, like, drug addiction or whatever. Exactly. For Antonio Brown, it's just like, well, we're not going to get into the politics of it. But, like,
there are no politics. He's a bad dude. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's disgusting that Antonio Brown has all of a sudden ascended to the fear that I think people like us who just kind of not want to do that, like, don't want to pick him up, don't want to play him. And it's here. It's here. So this is his week, and he's going to get force fed, probably leaves with the same thing at minimum, 6 targets, touchdown upside. Like, that's disgusting.
All right. I'm taking Tampa Bay here.
I am too. I actually think they kind of fucked the Saints up.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed that they're like, I'm upset that they're good. I know they're. Is
it the Brady thing or just the super team thing?
I think it's the defense. I think it's the defense thing, and Brady is good enough, and just fuck Brady, I think, is what it is to me.
You need to get off that train, man. Come on.
No.
I love Brady. Come on.
Fuck Brady. I am a Raiders fan from the Tuck Rule. Fuck Brady. The New England Patriots at the New York Jets. New England is a 7.5-point favorite with an over-under of 42. This game fucking sucks for fantasy and for real life. I think you're playing Cam.
Yeah. Cam or Drew Lock?
Drew Lock.
Ceiling boy.
I don't give a shit about that floor. I'm trying to raise the roof.
I don't think you're wrong. I think I would probably play Drew. It's disgusting, but I would.
Yeah, so along with Cam, I do. So the one play I think you can legitimately make this week for the Patriots, I think Jacoby Myers is an actual play in this game. 10 targets this past week. Isaiah Ford, who the Patriots just traded for, is not going to be available for this game. N'Keal Harry, not going to be available. Julian Edelman on IR. Jets, worst secondary in the NFL. Jacoby Myers, to me, is like a legitimate, actual fantasy play.
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot of times where the Patriots trend towards someone who can be playable, but I think this is legit. I think this is something you can go into and expect at least like a reasonable output. I don't know about a touchdown, but definitely a decent amount of targets, possibly over 100 yards for Myers.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to get real dirty, you could take a shot on Damiere Byrd, but I would not recommend it. In terms of the running back position, Damian Harris had like a good game, but also has no floor. And Sony Michel is going to potentially be active this week. So that's just a hard no for me. What do you think about the running backs?
It looked really good around waiver period, and now it just doesn't because Sony Michel's coming back. So it throws a monkey wrench into the monkey wrench that is this backfield.
For some reason, you said Monkey Wrench, and like I was like, "There's a song called Monkey Wrench," and then I was like, "Oh, Foo Fighters." But then immediately my brain just went to Brass Monkey instead, and just Brass Monkey. Anyway, the Jets.
Crowder, that's it.
Is Crowder going to play? He's like questionable right now, right?
Yeah, so I think he was up in the air with the groin, but I believe
Perryman, I think, is going to play. I don't think you should play Perryman. And then Crowder, I think, is like still up in the air enough to where for a Monday night game, you should not play him. So I don't think there's a single Jet that you should play.
He was limited today, so trending towards playing, but yeah, again, not fantastic. Although Crowder's been very good.
Crowder's great when he plays.
Correct.
And the Jets slot role in general is a very productive role. Braxton Berrios had 11 targets this past week. Yeah, unless Crowder's definitely going to go, you cannot like take the risk on like unless you have Crowder and Berrios on your team. But even then, like, don't do that to yourself. Where on Monday night you might have to switch in Braxton Berrios against the Patriots. Don't play a single Jet.
Imagine being that guy. Just like I'm fucking set. I could switch out whoever needs to be in.
It's cool, dog. You're at the club and your girl's just picking Braxton Berrios out of my hair. No, it's not the correct thing to do. Please do not play any Jets this week. I really think the only person from this whole game, I mean, maybe Cam. Yes, Cam, but like Jacoby Myers is the only skill position player that you can even consider from this game.
Yeah.
That's Monday Night Football. Vin, you got anything else for the people before we sign off?
No, I don't. I don't really even have like a morbid thing. Just kind of we're in the middle. We're in the middle right now, and it sucks. That push to the playoffs is so different than like what it was in the beginning of the year. It's disgusting every year.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting finish to the year. Just between the COVID lists, people getting hurt, everything else, crazy year. Hopefully you guys are doing well with it. Hopefully you do well with week 9. Hopefully we set you up to do well with week 9. Please ask us questions. Please, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know where you talk to us. I don't know. Anyway, best of luck to you all. For Vinny, for Let's Talk Fantasy Football, I am Walsh. Later, podcast.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.